I am prepared to stay here until we elect the Speaker of the House.
Sorry.
I can't speak to everybody. Oh, I'm so sorry, Virginia.
Come on,
I'm sorry.
Get away from the damn elevator, okay?
Virginia, it's coming back. This one right here.
Right here.
This one right here.
Go find a place to talk.
Earlier today, one of our colleagues, a gentleman from Florida,
look at my African American over here,
presented up on this screen something that appeared to be a screenshot of a text message containing or insinuating an explosive allegation. That screenshot of what appeared to be a text message was a fabricated image. It was a fabricated image. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was the staff of the committee, but it was not the actual direct screenshot from that phone. And in fact, I would like to submit to the committee the actual full context from the Ziegler affidavit number 1, exhibit 402, of the full text of that exchange. Do I have permission from the chair? Importantly, what was brought out from that fabricated image excluded critical context that changed the underlying meaning and allegation that was presented up on that screen by this committee and by members of this committee. Now, they are well within their right to do that because they are covered by the speech and debate clause. This was not submitted by a material or fact witness under oath. That was not submitted by a material or fact witness under oath.
Power and authority. I think it's wrong.
Byron Donalds won't say who those people are, but blames them for revealing his criminal past. It's been posted on the internet after it was ordered sealed by the courts. A 1997 misdemeanor arrest for distribution of marijuana, and in 2000, a second-degree felony for receiving a bribe. Donald says those claims are inaccurate. He claims he was arrested for possession of pot, not distribution, and the second offense was for theft, not taking a bribe.
15 years ago, I came in contact with a girl. She offered me $1,000 for my debit card and my PIN number, and I gave it to her. I never got the $1,000, but I had to make restitution to the bank in excess of $7,000.
Donalds burst onto the political scene as a Tea Party star running for Congress in 2012. Governor Scott later appointed him to the Edison State Board of Trustees. He recently appeared next to fellow Republican Kirk Clausen the night he won the GOP primary. Along the way, Donalds never mentioned his past legal troubles.
Do you regret not sharing this with the public sooner and having it come out like this?
He told me yes, but is quick to say his critics are behind the timing of these revelations. They come as the state Senate considers whether to confirm the governor's decision to appoint Donalds to the Edison board.
You know, there are political people who want to try to discredit me and use this against me, but these were the actions of a young kid. I can't undo that.
Donald says he's been going to church for the past 15 years, becoming a youth counselor and focusing on being a better man, husband, and father.
And so I can't undo my mistakes, but the only thing I can do is show and become the man that I am today for my family and for the community that I love.
Donald stresses he pleaded no contest to the charges. I reached out to the governor for his take on Donald's past and to find out if the governor still supports him. I'm still waiting to hear back. Warren Wright, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you, Warren. So we're waiting to hear from the governor. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. Do you think your state senators should put Donald on the Edison board, approve what the governor nominated him to do? And do you think the governor should push for it at this point? Also, what do you think about Donald's explanation? And do you think he should have told you about his past before now? You can call us with your answers. 239-206, Fox 4.
On this. One other point I want to make. You guys are throwing up the pictures about they were in the bathroom or they were on the stage. As somebody who's been to Mar-a-Lago, you just can't walk through Mar-a-Lago of your own accord because Secret Service is all over the place. So if the documents are in a place, they're in a room, depending on the time of year, you can't even get into said room. There are 33 bathrooms at Mar-a-Lago. So don't act like it's just in some random bathroom that the guests can go into. That's not true.
We run out of time. I've got to ask you about the House itself. You have no speaker right now. The Republicans defenestrated Kevin McCarthy, couldn't agree on Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan. Now Byron Donalds, congressman from Florida, wants to be speaker. What do you make of him?
He's only served one term in the U.S. House of Representatives. Last thing that he did in an oversight committee was attempt to submit falsified evidence to an impeachment hearing. I think it helps to know where all the bathrooms are before you run for the U.S. House of Representatives personally. And I think it helps to have some real experience in one of the most complex legislative bodies in the world before you try to run it.
And last question for you, just looking forward. I mean, despite Republican dysfunction, they're still doing very well in the polls, in the presidential polls. Looking forward to November 2024, especially now with this war in Gaza, that seems to be alienating a few key parts of the Democratic base, young voters, progressives, Arab American voters in states like Michigan. How worried are you about Joe Biden's re-election prospects and the chances of a Donald Trump return to power?
I think we need to understand that one of the lessons that must be learned from Donald Trump's first election is that it is not sufficient and has never been sufficient to say, well, the other guy's worse. I think it's an argument that is very understandable. I understand it completely. And it is on its face correct. But where it is offensive and where I think folks sometimes lack sensitivity in that is that only some populations are asked to have their rights held hostage, to ask to have their humanity held hostage, and say we don't really need to prioritize the policy demands of these constituencies because of how much worse the opponent is. I think a Democratic coalition not just means involving protecting people from erosion, but it means actually championing and incorporating their policy priorities in our governance. We have a year, and I think it's important to demonstrate that in the year to come.
The stuff that comes up about Jim Crow and twisting my words, saying I was being nostalgic.
I'm going to attempt to let this Byron Donalds interview that he's just done with Joy Reid speak without me interrupting it. But when you bear in mind that his main role in life is to be this guy here, Mr. Felony, his house T-boy. Sorry, if anyone's offended by that, well, it's the truth. Byron Donalds is like the other guy, Tim Scott. He's wheeled out for one sole purpose, so that Trump can play his black card. Because do remember, all right, Trump has done more for black Afro-Americans than anybody possible in the history of the United States of America. Who said so? Trump did himself.
Obama couldn't get it. Nobody could get it. I've done more for black people than anybody since Abraham Lincoln.
Anyway, back to Byron.
Or saying that Jim Crow was good for black people. That's all political spin. It's a lie. It's gaslighting. And that's truly unfortunate.
So here's the challenge, Congressman.
The other thing with Byron is he likes to think that he's more intelligent than anybody else. Okay, so when he's speaking, he has this real patronizing, how dare you question me? You want to know the time of the day? How dare you ask me what the time of the day is? As if I'm far too important to answer questions like that. And here's the other I'll play a bit more of the interview.
And you on your own brought up Jim Crow. In fact, you said Jim Crow 3 times for emphasis. It wasn't the media or the Democrats or gaslighters who brought up Jim Crow. It was you. You brought up Jim Crow. So why did you use Jim Crow specifically as your reference? You did that. No one else did that. You did it.
Oh, I did. We were having a conversation just talking as, black people in Philadelphia. But
Byron, you're lying. You're just trying to pander to this guy. This is what happens with Boebert and Marjorie Taylor. Anything to get attention, anything to get talked about. Byron's thinking, he doesn't care if he hurts, upsets, insults anybody. Literally, if he's going to get attention, that's what he's doing. It was a card he deliberately played. I don't care what he says. That is the truth. That's my opinion.
If you're going to use the chronological timeline of America before the Great Society and Lyndon Johnson's time period, you had, unfortunately, the Jim Crow era in America. During that time period, the marriage rates of black Americans was significantly higher than any other time since then in American history. So it is a divergence if you're talking about marriage rates in the black community. They have plummeted. And what we've seen recently in America, which is a very good thing we should all celebrate, is that the marriage rates in the black community are rising again. That's good for black families. That's definitely good for black children. It's something I want to see. I'm quite sure you want to see it as well.
Okay, let's talk about that. Jim Crow lasted roughly from 1867 after the Civil War to 1968. Is there a specific period between 1867 and 1968 that you thought was this golden era for black families, or a time that was good for black families?
Joy, I never said that. And see, this is where the gaslighting comes in.
I'm going to read what you said.
All I was talking about was the marriage rates.
Stop. No,
Joy,
that's not what you said. Let's play what you said. Play what he said. Play what he said.
Families. You're saying I said it was the golden era. I never said that.
I'm going to play what you said.
I said that it was better for black families. I never said that. I said
play what he said.
Play what I
said.
Play
what he said.
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are.
Okay, so now I'm going to go back. You said during Jim Crow, the black family was together. What was the authority of the black father in the black family during Jim Crow?
Well, listen, under Jim Crow, obviously, black people were under great persecution, unfortunately, by Southern Democrats and the Democrat Party overall in the history of our country. That's the fact. And so, well, let me finish now, Joy. And so having the black man in the home was about first protecting the mom and protecting the kids. Incredibly important. It was the leadership in the home, which is incredibly.
Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention that a so-called leader has made the factually inaccurate statement that black folks were better off during Jim Crow. That's an outlandish, outrageous, and out-of-pocket observation. We were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when black women could be sexually assaulted without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be systematically lynched without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when children could be denied a high-quality education without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be denied the right to vote without consequence because of Jim Crow. How dare you make such an ignorant observation? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
And the thing with Byron, he's like a one-trick pony. Literally, he has one act, roll it out, dresses the same. It's just, he's boring. Right? There's nothing wrong with being boring if you have at least, you're doing something. But if anyone has Byron Donalds as their representative, please, representative, by the way, I'd love to know some evidence of anything he's actually done since he's been in Congress. What has he done? What laws has he brought in? Please. Somebody somewhere, give me some evidence that he's done anything worth talking about. Because right now, if you were to take a blank piece of paper and look at all the achievements on the blank piece of paper, which would be sweet or nothing, and compare them to Byron Donalds, you'd be, remember the old game, Snap? In fact, the blank piece of paper has probably achieved more and it probably has more uses.
Why would you quote that era and say that at that time, the family all being in the home together was something we should think of as a good thing?
Well, first of all, Joy, the story you bring up and you're bringing up is a tragedy, one of the great tragedies of the Jim Crow era. This is why those policies were so they were disgusting and distasteful. All I was talking about, Joy,
what was the benefit of a man in the family? Again, sir, I'm sorry, I let you talk for a long time. Sorry, I only, no, talk over you. You've gotten a chance to speak a lot, Congressman. You're going to answer my question now and not filibuster. This is the question you want. This is the question you need to answer.
That's what I'm trying to answer. That's what I'm trying to answer, Joy.
Give me a second. Take a breath. Take a breath. If a black man could not protect. It's my show. If a black man, a black father, could not protect his wife, his son, or himself from lynching and violence, how is him being in the home mean that that is an era that was better for the black family, or that we should think of as a good thing?
First of all, Joy, I never said that it was better for black people in Jim Crow. I have never said that, and even my own words say that. If you're talking about the importance of black fathers in the home, or frankly, all fathers in the home, it is always for the betterment of children, to have leadership, yes, for safety. So having two people in the home to help.